say about him.
Can he be here with the official call? And to my left or to my right, I don't know how it appears on the screen, but Robert Bird, aka the Birdman, is in the house with me.
Absolutely. And boy, was that some scraps this weekend.
We had some scrap, Birdman. We had some scrap.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
And so, me and Miss Kales, our producer, wasn't able to get down and see you personally. We could see you as you moved from point A to point B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And that was actually a challenge because the Turk was there, and there was you could only go certain ways.
Right.
Even the guys that were picking up the scorecards from from the judges, they couldn't go a certain way because the Turk was there. So it was a challenge, but all in all, I thought it was a good night. It was a good night. Definitely was a good night for boxing.
Yes, yeah. It was. It was a good night for boxing. One cannot complain. The undercard, which is what we're going to start with first, with Frank Martin and Nahar Albright. I was at the press conference and was able to get a little footage on a few interviews, but basically the way those two engaged back and forth, as opposed to what they were going to do to each other, ended up being a very exciting fight. Personally, Birdman, I thought that Frank got off to an earlier start than Albright.
Hmm.
But then as the fight continued to creep on, you could see Albright coming on strong, and it just kind of, to me, seesawed back and forth.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree. And want to tell all our folks out there, we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about, and we welcome you to call into the show and share your comments with us, and let's and any dialogue you have to say. So please call into the show right now. You can call in. The information's in the description. I agree with you, Kenny. I thought that it was a seesaw battle. It was definitely a seesaw battle, and I thought that Albright uh, it was the taller of the two, and I
Yeah,
thought that he would fight a little taller, but he fooled me. He got down in the trenches with with Martin, which I thought was kind of going to be a mistake, but he handled it well. He handled it
yeah,
well,
yeah,
and I agree with you that early on Martin was bringing it. You know,
yes,
he was bringing it, but yeah, toward the middle of the round and moving out toward the end, I think that Albright started fighting a little taller, started dropping some guys in, you know, and it was uh, it was good. It was good. It was good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, both of them close to age, 30 and 31, respectively. And I thought that in the last 3 rounds, we mentioned that Albright was coming on, but I thought, Birdman, that he caught Martin with a good shot. Uh, Looked like Martin could have been hurt a bit, but he was able to fight it off, and
Hmm.
the fight was able to, go the distance. I would also like to make comment on the officiating of Bobby Hoyle, because um, during the fight, you were closer to it than I was, but the mouthpiece. It,
Hmm.
you might want to explain. Well, it's easy on the mouthpieces as far as the rules, because
Yeah.
if it gets dislodged at the discretion of the referee when there's a lull in the action, that he will get the mouthpiece, either take it to the corner to get it cleaned off or put back in, or the
Yeah.
referee can insert it back in as well. That's the sole position of the man in charge.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from,
And I did.
from
I did. I was ringside for this fight, and I watched the referee when the mouthpiece became dislodged. I saw him waiting for a lull, uh, and it was kind of a difficult because there wasn't a lot of love, you know. But at
right,
some point, he just had to, you know, very quickly stop, put it back in, and I heard him say to the fighter, hey, bite down on this thing because it came back out again. And
yes,
so there was some question. Well, maybe he should have took a point, but there are some times in a fight when the fight itself dictates to the referee. You know what? Let this thing go. You know, yeah, I could, according to the rules. If the mouthpiece comes out, I can do this. But the whole idea is that fights have a natural flow. And as a referee, what you want to do is help that. You want that to go. And so I had no problem with his conduct in the ring. I thought that he handled it. He wasn't wasting a lot of time going to the corner, watch this all come back in. It came out and he put it back in and said, let's go, you know.
I I
So I thought that he handled it well.
Birdman, I agree. I thought that Bobby handled it well. Like you said, he with the scuffling that was going on, he had to make a decision when he was going to
Hmm.
call timeout to get that mouthpiece back, because the rule book also says that a fighter is not supposed to fight without the
Hmm.
mouthpiece. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I thought he handled it well. There wasn't much chatter about the mouthpiece in the area, in the section that I was sitting, and I'm glad ultimately that he did not take a point, because it could have changed the outcome of the fight, being that
yeah.
the fight ended up a draw.
Right. And the bottom line is that, uh, the fight, the mouthpiece. This was the last round. This was happening in the last round, and to take point at that point would have significantly changed the outcome of the fight. So I thought overall that he did a good job. And just for you folks out there, if you want to know what the rule is on a mouthpiece, the rule is that a round in a boxing match cannot start without the mouthpiece.
Right,
That's the rule, that the round cannot start without the mouthpiece. It doesn't say anything about you can't fight without the mouthpiece. You can't start without the mouthpiece.
right.
And so it's something that is a part of the discretion of the referee. And and like I said, in this instance, in this fight, I thought that um, uh, he did he did the right thing
Yeah.
in terms of the fight. But this, Kenny, you know, 40 some years for me, I know almost that much for you. I have never, ever seen a unanimous draw.
and the
Unanimous.
score and the scores are all the same.
Yes.
I've never seen it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
All three judges scored it identically the same. Now, the
Yeah.
big one for me, Birdman, would be if we had a copy of the score sheet. How did they all get there the same way?
Well, yeah, and they probably didn't.
Probably did.
Where this fight was going back and forth, they
Right,
probably didn't. But it's so rare, because I guess over 40 some years, I've never heard of a unanimous draw.
right.
But all three, all across the board, all three judges had it a draw. That's
Yeah.
that's that's a rarity in boxing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Well, as we move along, we get to the main event,
Hmm.
and when I was asked by a few people of the media as to my prediction, and I just said calmly, "Look, I think that Ryan Garcia is quicker and faster than Barrios. I think that if if Garcia uh, stick to his game plans, use the ability and the skills that he has, that he should pull it out. If he tries to do too much, like he did when he fought Tank Davis, he was scoring well, doing his thing, and got complacent and got hit with the wrong punch, and the fight was over.
Yeah.
But the start of the fight with Garcia dropping Barrios in the very first round, to me, Birdman, it looked like Barrios struggled from that point on as far as getting uh, into his rhythm, into his groove, whatever it was. But it just appeared to me that he was never the same after that.
Well, the thing for me with this fight, and of course, I would never make a prediction because I'm still very active.
Right.
So, but the thing for me was which Ryan Garcia was going to show up.
Yeah.
You know, because it's no secret he's had some issues
Yeah.
mentally. emotionally, uh, and it's affected his training. And your training, if that gets affected, most of the time that will filter over into the fight itself. So my question about this fight, right from the beginning, was which Ryan Garcia is going to show up,
Yeah.
because when he is on, this kid is talented. He has
Yes.
tremendous boxing ability. Mentally, he's tough. Uh, you know, so the question was, which Garcia is going to show up? You
Yeah.
know, it's going to be the one that fought Hayes. It's going to be the one that fought Rowley. Uh, we didn't know, but
Right.
that first round answered the question,
Yeah.
because he came out focused.
Yeah.
He had a game plan. He stuck to it. And it didn't surprise me that Barrios finished the fight. A lot of people, well, man, I thought that Barrios is a very tough out. He's
Yes.
a very tough out. And he showed his mettle in that fight, because he got dropped, and it took him a few rounds, you know, but he stayed in the fight.
Yes.
He was being challenged and outboxed, outspeeded, out comboed, uh, for practically the entire fight. But he hung in there. This is one of those fights that was competitively not competitive, if you know what I'm saying. You
Yes.
know, and the flip side of that is that the fans out there, they got their they got their money's worth,
Yeah.
because yeah, Barrios could have, after getting dropped, and he could have faded.
Yeah.
He could have faded. He could have, just faded on out. But he didn't. He stayed
No.
in there, and he was competitive, just not. He just wasn't aggressively, uh, you know, uh, 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 good in the fight. He couldn't get it. He couldn't get a flow going,
Yeah.
because every time he would try to do that, Ryan would come back with a combination or a good shot, and he just never could get a flow going. Ryan wouldn't let him do that, you know. And so Ryan Garcia served notice that
He
he's
did.
back. He's back.
He served notice, and uh, while sitting in the media section, I had a writer sitting next to me, and it was right around in about the fifth round. He says to me, "Do you think it's going to be a knockout?" And I responded quickly saying no, and I responded quickly saying no because at that point of the fight, like you said, I know Barrios is a warrior. I know it's going to take. I mean, he could have possibly been knocked down a second time, but I don't think it was going to be enough to take him completely out
Yeah, yeah,
because he's a
yeah,
warrior,
yeah.
and even after the fight, there was talk that that Barrios may have been sick before the fight. Well, I was at the press conference. He appeared to be fine to me. I did not make the weigh-in, but that was kind of the talk going that I heard after the fight that he may have gotten sick. I don't know, but
Well, but the thing about it is, it if that rumor were true, and we don't know that it was,
right,
even if it were true, what he did was showed his mental toughness by
yes,
getting into the fight and going 12 tough rounds in that fight.
exactly,
So that
exactly,
says a lot to me about his pedigree. You know,
yes, exactly,
uh, uh, he it says a lot about his warrior spirit. You
yeah,
know, but like I said, this this fight served notice to Anybody from 140 to 147,
Yeah.
that Garcia's back. And there's a multitude of options out there. I mean, there's a rematch with Romy, you know.
Yeah.
The fight that everybody wants to see would be he and Shakur. Okay. The fight that makes the most sense would be he and Devin Haney. That
Yes.
is the fight that I think makes the most sense, and that's the one that people would more want to see than the other. And after that fight, then would he fight Shakur?
Yeah.
So I think, but he has a great roadmap. It's a great roadmap for him. He's got
Yeah.
a number of very competitive fights out there that he can pick and choose from.
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, uh, I would lean toward uh, uh, getting back to Devin Haney. You know, getting that fight out because I think that's the one people would want to see. And right after that, then I think people would want to see him and Shakur. Either fight
Yeah.
would be worth paying to see.
Worth paying to see. And callers, we're asking if you'd like to join in on the conversation. Just look at the description below and tune in. And we'd love to hear uh, your personal feelings about the fight card that took place at the T-Mobile in Las Vegas between Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios. Um,
And something,
eh,
Kenny.
yeah,
What I saw, you want to know how good this fight was. What I saw during the fight was the Turk, Al-Sheikh. He was standing up. He actually got out of his seat. He was standing up. You know,
right.
uh, uh, the fight was that exciting to him.
Yeah,
So, and that's good. That's kind of good because
yeah.
most of the time he's kind of reserved. You know, but he
Yes,
was
you're
up and
right.
he was moving. He was rude. He was rude. So a fight can bring about that response from him. It had to be a decent fight.
You saw the emotional side of him that a lot of people didn't get to see. And
Yes.
the fact that he was that emotional during that fight, the other question would have been, did you get a chance to see Oscar De La Hoya? Because at the press conference, he was very adamant that Garcia was going to beat Barrios, and because of his training, because he's been around the camp, and he just know that Ryan Garcia is going to beat him. And so I talked with him, interviewed him after the show, and I didn't get to hear the interview to Ryan Garcia after the show, and he had mentioned that he wanted to fight Shakur Stevens next. And
Okay.
so I asked Oscar, and Oscar's attitude, just like a promoter would say, if they can make it happen, they'll make it happen.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can't. He can't miss. I think probably the lesser promotion for him would be a rematch against Rolly. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
I think that the bigger fight and the fight that most people would want to see would be either Shakur or Devin Haney. Uh, Shakur, that's top of the heap.
yeah,
That'd be top of the heap,
yeah,
especially the way that Shakur dominated Teofilo, you know, coming off to that fight. Yeah, that would be. But uh, sometimes sometimes you have unfinished business in this
yeah.
business, and I would think that uh, sometimes you want to take care of that unfinished business and then move on to the other business. And that would mean that he would go back and fight Devin Haney and then fight Shakur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for those that don't know, what the Birdman is saying about unfinished business is that Ryan Garcia has fought Devin Haney, and he beat Devin Haney to find out after the fight that there was some PED or something that was floating around in Ryan Garcia's system. And and you correct me if I'm wrong, Bird, but I don't know which organization it was of the top four, but they erased Devin Haney's loss
Yes. Yeah.
because yes, so Devin Haney still remains undefeated,
Yep.
and that unfinished business, like you said, with them fighting a second time, though it wasn't counted the first time, they still got in the ring and fought.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what we're back to, fight
Yeah.
fans. That's what we're back to.
And so, and like I said, it is unfinished business because the the perception will be and is that, but for the fact that you were on something, you might not have won that fight.
Right,
You didn't fight clean.
right.
Uh, at least that was the outcome that came from it. Uh, so that's when I talk about unfinished business. That's what I'm saying. You don't want no doubt about the fact that even if we come in, both of us, the absolute same, I can beat you. That's
Yeah,
that's what you want to do. That's the message you want to send. You
yes,
know, I don't need to get no outside help to beat you. I
yeah,
can beat you. You know,
yeah,
so we'll see.
yeah.
But money, hey, money talks.
Mo-
Money talks.
Money talks, and that's the next big question as far as what could happen with Ryan Garcia as far as who his next opponent will be. But believe it or not, he showed us something last Saturday night.
Yes, he did. Yes,
He
he
came
did.
in focused. He came in, he knew the job he had to do. He executed well. He almost basically fought a flawless fight. And
Hmm.
the scoring from the judges, well, I scored it during the fight, and I scored it 119, 111. I only gave Barrios one round.
Well, the judges gave him one, two, or none.
Yeah,
Yeah. One judge gave him two, one judge gave him one judge gave him none.
yeah,
Uh, so that's pretty conclusive. You
yes,
know, you win a
yes,
fight like that, it's pretty conclusive.
yes,
Um, but uh, um, uh, the question would be, and styles make fights.
yeah,
Barrios is not as fluid of foot as Shakur would be.
right,
He doesn't have, I believe, the same boxing ability that Shakur would have. And
yes,
so now the question is, between these two, who would you favor?
right, exactly. And when during the Garcia Barrios fight, there were times when Barrios was the aggressor. As to how well he scored or not was one thing, and then there were times when Garcia was the aggressor. Now you take that and you put and match Garcia up to Shakur, and you look at who would probably be the enforcer or the aggressor. Um, Shakur Stevens showed in his last fight with Teofimo Lopez that I could stand in the pocket and exchange just as well as you can. I
Yeah.
don't have to be on defense. I
Mhm.
can stand there in the pocket and exchange with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, when that fight finally gets matched up, it's going to be an interesting fight. It's going to be a big fight, and I think the world will be waiting for it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Because Shakur and Shakur, I think I forget the publication, but they were saying Shakur is sort of a mix of Floyd and uh, uh, Pee Wee.
Yeah,
You know, and he does. He has the defensive skill
yes,
set of those guys in terms of his defense. But you know, just like Floyd, and we know that everybody talks about Floyd's defense, but you know, you can't win 50 fights just being defensive.
yeah,
You know, you got to go back and you know, you got to dig down every now and
yeah,
then. You know, you got
yeah,
to come back and you got to score some points. And
right,
so that's that's the intrigue here.
yes,
Yes, Shakur Stevenson is a tremendous defensive fighter, but
right.
but he can bang too. You know,
He,
so it'd be interesting.
yeah, he can bang too. And if I was to try to make a early prediction, if Ryan Garcia's next fight is against Shakur, uh, I've often used the phrase "flipping a coin," and heads for Shakur and tails for Garcia. But if in making an early prediction, um, I used to tell people as to how I would put information on a scale. Uh, one scale side is for Garcia, the other scale side is for Shakur. And who's the fastest? Well, their speed is very, very, very close. I would probably lean towards Shakur on speed. Skills, uh, where would it go to Garcia or Shakur? Uh, Shakur would probably get the weight on his scale again. Uh, uh, Consistency in how he uh, 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 prepares for a fight. Well, Shakur is undefeated. So when you start putting things on the scale as to one's ability, what he's done, what he's proven, moving up in weight, etc., one would probably have to lean toward Shakur Stevenson. He's done it all at this point. So for Ryan, and I'm not taking anything from Ryan Garcia, but he, in my opinion, is going to have to step his game up another notch to face off with Shakur Stevens.
I think you did that. I can't. Nothing that you said. I can't. I would disagree. You know, I think you laid it out pretty doggone eloquently. Now there was another fight
Yep,
on, but it was on Sunday,
Sunday.
and this fight did a lot of good things.
Yeah,
The first thing it did was prove that two women, could fill an arena.
yeah,
Fight was in Detroit, and
yeah.
and and they said the announced attendance was 18,000 plus. Well, that's pretty doggone good.
That's real good.
Any arena, you know, you
Yes,
can pull 18,000 people. So on that, from that aspect, really good. The fight itself, let me tell you something. If you weren't a fight fan before, you would be a fight fan after, because those ladies came to fight. They
yes,
came to fight, and they did fight. Okay,
yeah,
uh, and one thing that was unique about this fight is that the entire officiating crew were female.
right.
All three judges and the referee
Yes,
were females.
yes,
It says that women boxing is in a good place. And I for one am very happy about that because let me tell you something, and you know it, and I know it. On a lot of times when they were on the undercard, those were the best fights of the night.
Yes.
Those were the best fights of the night.
Yes.
So yeah. So what were your observations about that?
Well, first I want to ditto what you said, best fight of the night, because the ladies, they come to fight.
Yeah.
They come to fight. And from what I saw visually on television, and I take nothing from Claressa Shields' opponent. Um, she, well, this is the second time that they fought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a
So,
rematch.
Cruz Deshawn, she came in, she wasn't holding back. The moments where they were engaging, you kind of almost cringe because you knew if one of those power punches landed, what damage it could do, and some of those power punches did land,
Yeah.
but they still stood in there toe to toe, giving it everything they had. And like you said, if you wasn't a boxing fan of women before, you can be a boxing fan of women now because they did not hold back.
And let me tell you something, Kenny. There was some chin checks going on in that fight.
Yes, sir.
I mean, both chins were checked. You know,
Yes.
cause them girls were throwing, man.
They were throwing.
I mean, it wasn't no pity pat.
No, it wasn't no
They
pity
weren't
pat.
pity patting. They were
That's
throwing.
right.
You
That's right.
know?
There
Yeah,
wasn't no soft touch this, a
dude.
soft touch that. They came in and were throwing bombs from the very first round. I thought that Cruz Deshawn was kind of running out of gas a little bit, which is something that one can anticipate
Yeah,
because of the amount of punches that they were throwing back and forth.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Carissa was applying the pressure all night long.
Yes.
You know, she wasn't sitting back trying to, she was coming. She was bringing it. And
Yes.
Deshaun was saying, bring it on. I
Yes.
mean, that you didn't have to look for each other. They
That's
didn't
right.
have to look for each other, you know.
That's right.
It was a great fight, man.
Yes.
And when the first fight they fought, I think it was at Buck 68 uh years ago.
Yeah.
And I think Deshaun, I think she still holds that title at 168 because this fight was for Clarissa's heavyweight championship. It's
Yeah.
a buck 75.
Yeah.
Uh, and so she moved up. Deshaun moved up to
Moved up
175,
too.
and she carried the power and her maneuverability. She brought it up with her,
Yes.
as did Clarissa. Because Clarissa, most of the damage Clarissa did was at 160 and 168, and then she moved up,
And then
to
she moved.
175. And
Yeah.
she's been very successful at 175. I think
Yes.
this is
Yes.
her second or third fight at heavyweight. Uh, and she didn't. She was in shape. Both of these ladies were in shape for this fight
Yeah.
because they were going at it for 10 rounds.
For
I
10
mean,
rounds, and you know, like I do, that fighters know where their level of conditioning is, and if you're averaging 75 so punches around, and your conditioning don't dictate that you can do that throughout the whole fight, then you may drop down to 60 or 55 punches around.
mhm, yeah,
And that's what I thought with Rashawn, but it made no difference because it's tough and as fierce as those rounds were, Clarissa was coming out on top at the
yeah,
end of each one of those rounds,
yeah.
and the score dictated that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it proves once again that women's fights can be just as exciting and
yeah,
fan friendly as
yeah,
any male fight.
yeah.
As any male fight.
That's right.
They proved that, and I for one am happy about that because for so long women haven't gotten the proper respect that I think that they deserve as athletes.
Yeah,
They deserve that, you
yeah,
know, and they have proven that they have a spot and they deserve a spot in this sport.
yes,
And they produce. You know, if you're a promoter, hey, and I think Jake Paul has proved it.
yeah,
Uh, uh, with the things that he's done with women boxers and women boxing, and this show, even though he didn't have a part of it, I think the things that he did with his shows have reflected that you know two women can headline a major show.
right.
Two women can headline and fill an arena, and
Yes,
because they did it, you
they
know,
did.
and there was nothing that if you're a boxing fan and you didn't enjoy this fight, something's wrong with you. Yeah, you know?
Well, I know there's going to be more to come with Clarissa because um, uh, apparently she mentioned as to who she would like to fight next.
Ah,
And that was a young lady that actually was on our show, uh, Shadeja, spoke on our show a few weeks back,
yeah,
and it was very delightful to have her on the show. She answered a few questions that we needed answered in relationship to her relationship with
mhm,
Claressa Shields.
yeah,
She
yeah,
was very open and very candid about how they met, I believe, back in the amateurs.
mhm, yeah, yeah,
And shucks, and then some things happen
yeah,
that we know that consistently happen in the sport of boxing
yeah,
that that kind of got them looking in different directions. But
hmm
but but now the question is that could be Clarissa's possible next fight.
and
Um,
and I'm gonna tell
and,
you, Kenny, I think let me tell you, I don't make predictions, but I'm gonna tell you something. That's a fight I'd like to see.
yeah,
That's a fight that I would definitely like to see because, uh, and I'm not taking anything from any of her opponents, but this young lady, uh, I think she has uh, 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 a, an advantage in terms of athleticism because she was a D1 foot basketball player,
yeah,
you know, and uh, and I believe she was a point guard. And if you're a point guard, then you're a basketball man. You know, you
yeah,
point guard, you got to have pretty good footwork. And we know that in boxing, he or she who has excellent footwork, you get a couple of points, and you get a couple of advantage points if you've got excellent footwork, because it's all long been my belief that fights are won primarily from the waist down,
yeah,
and so I think that would be. Uh, Clarissa said that in the post fight, she said that her fight with Deshaun was her toughest fight yet, and and I can believe that, just based on looking at the fight. But I truly believe that a fight that uh, if it took place between she and Miss Green, I
yeah,
think that could be epic. I really
yeah,
do, because I think that Miss Green has the athleticism and the power to really challenge Claressa.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it would be the same kind of fight because I think both of them have excellent power, but both of them also have excellent boxing ability.
Yeah.
So I think this would be, I think this would be a great challenge for Claressa. And I think the other lady that she mentioned was Michaela Meyer. And my belief is Michaela's small. You know, Michaela would have the same argument that Clarissa has had for most of her fight, that she was always the smaller one, fighting the bigger people. And I think a fight between Clarissa and Michaela would be the lighter person.
Yeah.
Uh, and I don't know that, moving up and where the fight would be. Because, Clarissa said she would move back down. She
Yeah.
said she would move down and almost to 160, if I understood her right, but definitely to 168. So, but I think the fight that most people would want to see would be a fight between Clarissa and Green at 168.
Yeah.
I think that's the fight that makes the most sense. I think that's the fight that probably would command the most monetarily,
Yeah.
financially. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, let me say this. Shadeja Green's interview with the official call is out now. So if you want to check out that interview and get the fight fans and get a little more interested in the possibilities that could be the next fight with Clarissa Shields, please do. And call in if you have and would like to discuss anything in regards to this particular fight or any fight that we have talked about, and just check out the description below and tune in. Birdman, this Clarissa Shields has dealt with every challenge or challenger that has crossed her path.
Yeah.
And though between the Green, there's something personal there.
Yeah.
And you know better than I do that when you step in that ring, you got to have total focus on how you prepare to beat your opponent. If you deviate from that, you only do so because something out of the ordinary happened that if that's not working in your game plan to cause you to try to change things around. For an example, like we saw Saturday
Yeah.
with Barrios getting knocked down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, going with that mindset when you enter the ring and when you're scheduled to fight. But if it happens, how are you going to adjust?
Yeah. And sometimes, that bad blood is real. Certainly was with Clarissa and
Sean.
Sean.
Yeah.
Very contentious.
Yeah.
Moving up to even at the weigh-in, you know.
Yes.
Uh, but once, and I agree with you, but once you get into that fight, you got to have a game plan and the ability to focus and stick with that game plan, or things can go south in a hurry.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and and like I said, but there's a statement out there: iron sharpens iron. Uh, and Clarissa has met every challenge.
Yeah.
Telling you this, Deshaun was quite a challenge. Well, she admitted herself in the post fight that this was the toughest fight yet that I had. Okay. But I honestly believe that uh, fight with her and Green would have a lot of the same dynamics as this fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we'll get just as good of a show, uh, in the, in, if, Green fights, Claressa. I think we're gonna get the same kind of excitement and thrills, just like, in her previous fight.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so as we move on,
Mhm.
Conor Ben. Now, uh, Birdman, uh, there's, you mentioned it earlier. Conor Ben leaves Matchroom
Hmm.
and goes to Zuffa Boxing. What do you think about that?
Well, I can tell you the research that I've done so far is there is a very strong belief, and I think that because one of the British fighters came out and he used the word betrayal, that Ben betrayed Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn had done so much in terms of building Ben up and
Yeah,
giving him uh, two of the most exciting and lucrative fights in Europe when he fought with Eubank.
you're right.
Okay. And then there was a couple of times when there was some question about uh, did he use some performance substance, and Eddie Hearn went on record in his defense. And so and that's where this thing about betrayal came out because I'd done so much for this kid, and but Eddie Hearn said it himself. He said, "But in the end analysis, the only person I have to blame is myself." And he said the reason why I say that is because um, I when I should have went back into negotiations and signed them, I didn't. You know,
Right,
and I'm thinking that what he was really saying is right after the when he beat Eubank the second time in the second fight and he won.
right,
That's when he should have negotiated it, and he didn't. He said, and that's my fault. Now he said, but when I got this news, I did reach out. He said, I reached out to him to say, hey, let's talk about this. And he said, I never got a response back.
right.
Now, that's one side of the story. The other side of the story, from which everything I've gleaned so far, is Dana White said they had an opportunity, once it was known, they had an opportunity to match whatever we put on the table. Eddie Hearns and Matchroom had an obligation or a chance to match it, and
Right,
they didn't. He said, and so I won't use the language that Dana White used because I just won't use it on this. This is a PA show. you know,
right,
you know. Uh, but he was very adamant that we gave them an opportunity to match and they didn't, and so shut the hell up. Basically, is what he's saying.
right.
Uh, from Ben's point of view, my understanding is that he was offered a one fight deal worth 15 million.
With Zuffa.
One fight for 15 million. And so I'm saying if I had gotten an offer like that, I might have to give it some serious consideration, you
Yes,
know. Uh
yes,
and Dana is saying that they had an opportunity to match and they didn't. So
right,
basically saying she'll shut the hell up, you know. So again, I'm always going to be for the boxer,
Right.
the fighter. They're the ones who are up at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning out there running miles. They're the ones in that gym, hours at a time, working on the bag, jumping rope, doing calisthenics. They're the ones that get in the ring and put their life and their lives on the line. So I'm going to be in the corner of the fighters. And so whoever is going to offer you an opportunity to make significant money, set yourself up for life, you have to, I think if you're intelligent, you have to at least weigh that.
Yeah.
And then make a decision,
Right.
And I assume, and that's all I can do because, I'm only going by all the stuff bits and pieces that I pieced together. That, that's what he did.
Yeah.
And, one fight, 15 million, that's more than he probably made in his entire career.
Exactly. And we talked about on another show, by the time taxes and handlers fees and all the other particulars that goes, and what happens with a fighter's initial pay, that 15 million will shrink down. How much I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
the 15 million sounds good, but it's not going to be like that 15 million is a check that he'll get, that he can stick in his pocket or and put in the bank and let it grow. It's going to be well, it'll be less than that.
But and there are some other considerations here. Just listening to, I got some snippets from Ben himself, and you kind of get the feeling that what he said is, I want a piece of that American pie. I got a trip over to Vegas and I liked what I saw. Um, so maybe that factored into his decision. Uh, that because it used to be back in the day that no matter what you did, you weren't really known or you hadn't really made it until you came to America.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't
Yeah.
think that's so much the true today because I think Europe has exploded, really. But
Yes.
there's still something magical about fighting in the quote boxing capital of the world.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that he said figured into his mind. But
Yeah.
the biggest thing here is that, and again, Eddie Hearn was, you could tell just looking at the interview that he was really hurt by it.
Yeah.
But he said that, you know, um, this is boxing. And really what he was saying is that loyalty is not a high point in the game, you know, and maybe loyalty is not a high point in the game because for so many years, boxers have been on the low end of that.
Yes. Right.
Okay. And as much as it was in not just boxing, but in all sports, you
Yeah.
know, they're the athletes. We're the ones that putting booties in the seat, you know, and on and on and on. And so Eddie Hearn obviously was very hurt by this. He felt um, let down by this. But then on the realistic side, he said, this is boxing. You
Yeah.
know, this, it's coming back to us,
Yeah.
you know.
It,
So, it is what it is.
it is what it is, and for you, this is nothing new. We know as far, at least as far back as I can remember, whichever promoter had that was offering the most money was the direction that the fighter was going to go in,
Mm-hmm.
because they want top dollar for their performance. They don't want low dollar. They
Yeah.
want top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, we can't blame them for that. that they got to make a living just like anyone else. And if what you're doing is as far as winning fights and entertaining the fans, uh, 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 create an atmosphere around you where you can make top dollar, then
Yeah.
make top dollar.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've said, and this certainly I think adds fodder to my thought process. You know, I've said on our show many times that the infusion of Zuffa into boxing, the infusion of the presence of Turkey Al-Sheikh, because of these two things, the landscape of boxing over the course of the next 18 months is going to change significantly. And this
Mm-hmm.
is proof of that.
Yeah,
This is proof of that. The landscape of boxing is going to change significantly. Hopefully, it's going to change to the benefit of the fighters. That's what the hope is, that it's
yeah,
going to change to the benefit of the fighters. But to be honest, while I think this is a wonderful thing, the flip side of that is that it's not going to be done without some significant hiccups.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
number one, the revision of the Muhammad Ali Act, which talks about all these interactions and interrelationships between promoters and fighters. That that's going to be one of the hiccups.
yeah,
Another one that's going to be, you just signed this fighter to one fight, $15 million contract. Now, if I am a UFC fighter, I'm saying, what? I'm on the top of the ladder to UFC, and I ain't never made that much money.
right.
So I'm saying it's not going to be without some. This thing is not going to be without some hiccups
Yeah,
because, and then the other thing is how are some of the other fighters out there looking at this, going, maybe that's a road I should go down.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and then the other part of the hiccup is going to be, how is all of this going to affect the sanctioning, the four major sanctioning bodies?
yeah,
You know, because Zuffa now, you know, they're starting out small at the apex, which is where they're doing their weekly show.
yeah,
But now they're going to go on the road with a fight like this. Okay,
yeah,
you're going to be fighting for Zuffa's title. Okay,
yeah.
that's going to significantly, I believe, change the landscape.
You're right. I agree. The landscape, it will be changed. I think it's going to change as well. And speaking of the landscape changing, we're running out of time, and I would like for our boxing fans or to share with them what I heard today, which Birdman, I'm sure you heard today. I got a text from a friend that sent me a poster talking about Floyd Mayweather coming out of retirement to
Yep.
fight Manny Pacquiao,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, you
Not an
always hear
exhibition.
rumors. You always hear rumors that you don't know if you're to believe them or not. But
Yeah.
so far at this point in time, uh, it's apparently supposed to be true. I would like to just wait and rest on this a little longer
Yeah.
before I come to the conclusion that it
Yeah.
is going to happen.
Well, what I heard was same as you, that, and two things. One, they do have a date, September 18th.
Yep.
Okay. And it's not going to be an exhibition, it's going to be a fight.
Yes.
And so we've waited a long time for that.
A very long
Waited a
time.
long time for this. And I didn't think it
Because
would happen. I really didn't think that Floyd would want to risk his 50-0. You
Yes,
know,
I agree.
I really didn't believe that he would want to risk that. But, you know, things change, time change,
Yep,
conditions change.
yep.
Uh, so it looks like that's going to happen, you know.
Look,
Uh,
look, look like
and
it's gonna happen, and fight fans, we will keep you in tune on what we hear in the days and the months to come. So you're up on just like
Mhm.
us, what's
Yeah.
going on in the fight game, and with oh yeah, we I got a little note here asking what reason with Mayweather is coming back. I don't know.
Well, we can no, we don't know, but we can say that Pacquiao came back and he looked very good against Barrios.
Yeah,
He looked good against
yes, he
Barrios,
did.
and he's fighting an exhibition in April against a guy that gave Tim Bradley everything he could do, Provodnikov.
Rocking the
Uh,
car.
yeah,
Right.
they're going to do, but that's going to be scheduled, and it's here in Vegas. It's going to be at the Thomas and Mack, and I believe the reason they selected that was because that's where Manny won his first world championship at
Yeah.
Thomas and Mack, and so he wanted it to be there. But it's
Yeah.
an exhibition. Uh, Floyd, on the other hand, is allegedly going to have an exhibition somewhere in Africa against Mike. So we got these two exhibitions to get us ready for the real deal in September, if we can believe all of this. Okay, and like you said, it ain't so until it's so.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the nature of this game, you know.
Yes.
But what I can say is that there's a buzz. There's a buzz in the game with these things happening, and that's what I'm saying. I think the next 18 months is going to bring about some significant changes in this game.
Yeah.
Some good, some, well, the jury's out.
Yes.
You know, the jury's out.
Yes. So with that being said, again, fight fans, we will keep you clued in on the possible Mayweather Pacquiao fight, and signing off. You know where I'm coming from. What I say, you must obey.
Well, we want to thank you for watching the official call live today. We do this once a week. And because we do this once a week, let's do this.